Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica, and in today's video I am doing another collab with my dear friend Tracy. Her channel name is Lilith Luna, and of course I'll have a link to her channel in my description box. Tracy and I have taken part in a couple other collabs together. We did do a love-hate collab using the red Freddy Krueger palette from Glamlight because she loves the palette. I hate the palette. Well, hate's kind of strong for an eyeshadow palette, but I don't love it, that's for sure. And we answered some questions about love and hate. And then Tracy and I both took part in a group collab with Cheryl from Cheryl Infinity and Ashley from Outrage and Grace. We did like a Shop My Stash video using the Rick and Morty palette from Glamlight as well. And I just adore Tracy. I love her. She is beautiful. She's creative. She's fun. She creates some of the most interesting, unique, and beautiful makeup looks I've ever seen. And she also does fashion type content too. It's really fun. She's given me a lot of really great fashion ideas. I haven't put any of those ideas into practice, but she's very inspirational to me in both her makeup looks and her fashion choices. So we both really love the brand Melt. She's got several Melt palettes. I have a couple, 3, and we have one in common. And as you can tell by the title of the video, it is the Melt Muerte palette. I love the outer packaging. I think that is so freaking awesome. Now this was released quite a while ago with another palette, which I never can remember the name of that other palette. And that one has like, I think reds, oranges, yellows, and maybe some greens in it, like more warm toned, I would say. And this is the color story of this beauty. Isn't this gorgeous? And when this was re-released, I just leapt on it. I'm like, I gotta get this palette because it's just so gorgeous. Now there's only one shade in here that I am not a huge fan of, and we are doing a palette bingo. And of course I randomly selected that shade, but that's okay because really, in all fairness, I've only used the shade like I think twice. So I want to continue to use it and give it more chances, right? So let me show you the 5 shades that I randomly selected for this palette bingo collab with Tracy. I selected this one here called Angelito, this one here called Lagrimas, this one here called Pantheon, I believe is how you pronounce that. This one here called Velorio, and then this one here called Calaca or Calaca. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. And this is the shade that I don't really love out of this palette. But again, I want to give it another try. So I think what I will do is put Pantheon in my like crease transition area. Then I will blend the shade out with Lagrimas. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to put Velorio on my upper lid or maybe just on my lower lash lines, I'm thinking. And then I'm going to put Angelito and Calaca or Calaca, I wish I knew how to pronounce that, on my upper lids. And this will probably go in my inner corner and maybe as a brow bone highlight. So that's what I'm thinking. And I did come up with 10 very random questions for Tracy and I to answer for our palette bingo collab today. Okay, so going into this shade here first, putting that in my crease transition area, I do have both of my brows done, and this eyelid is primed in the Juvia's Place Prep Prime eyeshadow primer. Now you might notice I have a little burn here, right here, on my forehead from my curling iron. I did that yesterday. And I didn't notice it. I mean, I knew I burned my forehead, but I didn't see the little mark until I got up this morning. I'm like, what's that? I'm like, oh yeah, I burned my forehead. It's just because I didn't really curl my hair for a long time. And I don't know. It's just, this is what happens to me. Okay, so the first question is, what's the weirdest movie you've ever seen? That's a tough question because I have seen a lot of really weird movies. I'm a huge movie fanatic. So coming up with just one weird movie, I don't know. But I guess I would say, there's a movie called Cell with Jennifer Lopez and Vincent D'Onofrio, I think is how you pronounce his last name. That is very weird. It's so weird. It's like a horror movie, but it's just very, how would I word it? It's got a lot of very strange imagery in it and like kind of funky, weird, spooky, creepy music. And like the premise of the movie is kind of weird too. She works for like, what, the FBI or something. And there's this serial killer and she like goes under, well, like, oh, no. She doesn't work for the FBI. She's like a psychologist. That's what it is. And she's doing this weird, like, sleeping thing with her clients that are like catatonic, basically. And they connect through their, like these wires through their brains while they're sleeping. I don't know. And she tries to like pull them out of their catatonic state or like figure out why they're in this catatonic state. I don't know. Anyway, and so she tries to do that with Vincent D'Onofrio because he ends up in a catatonic state and they're trying to rescue this person that he's kidnapped. I don't know. It's very weird. I mean, it is. But it is, you know, it's good. It's just weird. I mean, if you're not into horror movies, then that might not be your bag. But it is truly one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. Number 2, on a plane, do you prefer the window or aisle seat and why? Well, I don't love to fly, so this probably is going to sound strange. I really prefer the window seat. And the reason why is because I do not like being on a plane and being like in the middle or the aisle and looking up like in front of me and seeing just rows and rows and rows of the backs of people's heads. I don't know why. It just totally weirds me out. So I need to look out the window. I kind of like to see the ground, even though sometimes you can't see the ground because you're too high up. It just, I don't know, it makes me feel safer, which that might sound weird because, you know, part of the reason why I don't like to fly is because I think it's a ridiculous mode of transportation. You're up how many feet in the air in this little metal tube with wings on it and like, okay, this is great, sure. I know it's like the safest, I think it's the safest mode of travel. I get it, but I don't know. I have to look out the window. If I don't look out the window, I'm a wreck. So I have just learned as I've only flown, not a lot, but a handful of times, that if I look out the window, I'm much better off. Okay, so now I'm going to go into Lagrimas and put that around the edge of the gray shade. Number 3, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you in public? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you. I mean, there's been a lot of embarrassing things that have happened to me in public, but the most embarrassing thing, my son is involved in this story. Okay, and I've told Jan and Shawnee this story not very long ago. So when Braden was like 3.5, I think he was, and Sydney was what, 5.5, 6, something like that. We met my really close friend. She and I have been really close friends since we were 17. We went to high school together. But we met, she and her mom and her 1-year-old son at the time, at this park near my house. And it was like probably middle of August, super hot here. You know, the kids were all playing on the playground and just becoming sweaty messes and, you know. And so we decided to walk across the street and go to Cold Stone Creamery, which is this amazing ice cream place. We don't have it here anymore. It closed down, which I don't understand why it closed down because it was super popular. I mean, anytime you would go there, there would be a bajillion people there, but nonetheless, it's closed down. It is in the town close, well, it's in a town close to where my daughter lives. So one of the times that Paul and I went down to visit, we did go to Cold Stone and it was wonderful. And if you're not familiar with Cold Stone, it's like different flavors of ice cream that they like mix with all these different toppings that you can choose from. And they like put it on this like cold stone, like this stone slab, and they kind of chop it all up, mix it all up, and then put it in a bowl or a cone and you eat it. And it's amazing. Okay, so the kids were all excited. Well, my kids, my friend's son was probably too little to even understand where we were going, but it doesn't matter. So my kids were just thrilled to go to Cold Stone. Yeah, woohoo. So we, of course, walk across the street and we go into Cold Stone. And it's pretty busy, which was typically the case. And there's this older couple that's standing like by the ice cream case, like looking in and picking out their ice cream. And they looked pretty wealthy. You know, they were very sharply dressed and looked pretty like prim and proper. You know, like they're here getting ice cream. What are these urchins doing in here? That sort of thing. Because I got kind of the side eye from the wife and whatever. So Braden's too short, just a little guy, and he can't see into the ice cream case. So I pick Braden up so he can look in and pick out his ice cream. And for whatever reason, I have no idea why he did this, but he takes both of his hands and shoves them into my bra and starts yelling at the top of his lungs, "I love my mommy's boobies." And I'm like, ugh. So I'm like standing there wrestling with him, trying to get his hands out of my bra. I'm like, Braden, stop it. You can't do this. Or I don't know what you're doing. Stop it. Don't do that. You're embarrassing me. Stop that. And he's giggling and continuing to scream, I love my mommy's boobies. Oh my God, I wanted to just die. And I look over at that couple and the guy is totally cracking up and the wife is just pissed. She's like, stop laughing. Stop laughing. That's ridiculous. You know, she didn't have an English accent, but in my mind she did. I'm going to clean this brush off just a little bit and just go around and kind of blend this a little more softly. But it was funny. And my friend is just dying laughing. Her mom was laughing. He finally stopped when he realized, like, okay, we're not here to do this. We're here to get ice cream, dude. He finally took his hands out of my bra and like got serious about choosing the ice cream. But that's a story that we commonly tell, like, just, I don't know, or talk about anyway. Maybe not commonly tell, but we talk about every once in a while about how funny that was and how mortified I was. I just wanted to sink into the floor. Come on. And that guy laughed so hard. That was great. This looks really nice. I like it a lot. That's a cool color combo. I don't think I've ever used gray and green before together. Maybe, but not for a while. So I think I am going to go ahead and put Velorio right out here in the outer V. I think that's going to look cool. Number 4, what's a non-clothing item that you could definitely pull off as an outfit? Okay, well, I have this red fuzzy blanket that I have with me pretty much at all times when I'm here at the house. Where else would I be? And Jan and Shawnee have seen it. I'm sure Steph has seen it multiple times when we talk, like either, you know, Steph and I have video calls on WhatsApp, or Jan and Shawnee and I will be Marco Poloing each other. I'm usually sitting on the couch with that red blanket wrapped around me. And I could definitely turn that into an outfit. You know, I could make that into a dress or a skirt or something. You know, why not? That'd be great. But I wear it constantly. You know, like I literally wear it. Like I have it wrapped around me like a coat or whatever. But yeah, I mean, why not? Let's give it a whirl. I won't, but it might be kind of fun, right? Number 5, if you won the lottery, what's the first thing you'd purchase? What is the first thing I'd purchase? Well, I guess it would depend on how much I won. You know, like if I won a ton, I'd want to buy like a new house and, you know, that'd be fun because we need a new house. I mean, I do love this house. I do. It's just, it needs a lot of love. And we just haven't put a lot of love or money into fixing it up. And at some point I really, like pretty soon actually, I do, well, in the next couple years, I would say, although we've been saying that for a while, I do want to sell it because we do want to move like out into the country or something like that, more rural area, because where we live, the houses are just right next to each other, bump, 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 and my husband can't stand it. I don't love it, but I'm not as volatile about it as my husband is. So yeah, I'd want to buy a house, but if I didn't win that much money, I don't know. I mean, it would be fun to go on like a trip, obviously. I'm going to go back into Pantheon, and I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And go around the edge here and just kind of blend that edge out a little bit of Velorio. So yeah, like a trip somewhere. I mean, my husband and I really have not traveled together very many places other than in Oregon. So it'd be fun to like go out of the state. I mean, it would be fun to go out of the country, but if it wasn't enough to go out of the country, at least out of the state, you know. I would also love to buy like a motorhome or like a camp trailer. Like we've been talking about doing that for a really long time because my husband loves to camp. I do too. And we'd like to have, you know, a camp trailer or motorhome or whatever, something like that, that we could camp in. All right, cool. I like that. And I'm going to go back into Grimas a little bit and just blend this out. So again, it would just kind of depend on how much money I won. But a house, a trip somewhere, or a camp trailer would be what I would focus in on probably. Number 6, if you could have coffee with a famous person, alive or dead, who would it be and why? Oh, probably Martin Luther King Jr. Absolutely, I would love to sit down and have coffee with him. It just gives me chills to even talk about him. My mom said that when I was a little girl, anytime that he was on TV, I would like go up to the TV and put my hand on his face and start to sob. And I don't know, he's just always really moved me very deeply since I was a little kid. So I'd love to meet him. I'm going to go back in with this brush just a little bit too. And just, you know, talk to him and express my deep gratitude and love for him. I really would love to do that. That would be amazing. Let's see, maybe trying to think of one other person. Robin Williams. Robin Williams. He is my favorite comedian. And I was just devastated when he left us. And I think that would be just a hoot to sit and have coffee with him. It might be kind of fun to have coffee with both of them together. I don't know what Martin Luther King Jr. would think of Robin Williams, though. That would be kind of funny. I think Robin Williams would be thrilled and would love to have coffee with Martin Luther King Jr. But I don't know. That might be a little much for Martin. He might be like, huh? Okay, I think I'm done. There is kind of a wonky edge right there. So I might play with that again in a little bit. But for now, I think it's okay. This is actually a lot more like, I don't know, purpley. It looks very burgundy in the pan, but on my lid, it's like a kind of a dirty reddish purple. I like it. So now what I'm going to do is put Angelito right here and then put a little bit of this shade Caleca towards the front of the lid. We'll see how this works. I don't know, you guys. Number 7, do you think that fate is a real thing? Why or why not? That's kind of a loaded question for me. Trying to get some of this on the brush, and it's not really going on the brush that well. And honestly, that shade looks a little hard panned, but that's okay. I don't really panic over hard pan because you can still make the shade work. And I have cat hair on this brush. Of course I do. Okay, Fate. Ooh, that's beautiful. Ooh, I like this color combo. That's cool. I wasn't sure when I first selected the shades. I'm like, sometimes I want to have a do-over. I'm like, well, you can't. I mean, you could. Nobody would know. I could lie, but I don't do that. Fate. I do think, I have felt that fate is a real thing. Yes, I have felt like there have been certain things that have happened in my life that I felt were very fate driven or fate focused, or just, I'm going to go in with my finger because this brush is, yeah, see, this is starting to get weird right there. Kind of hard panny. Or it's like there's a hard overspray maybe over the shimmer. I don't know. But I was able to get some off on my finger, so that's fine. Okay, Erica, answer the freaking question. I do think that fate does play a role in some things. I do think that, like, there is certain aspects of life that are almost like destined for folks, maybe. But I also think that there is just choices that are made that equal certain results in your life. So I don't know. I think it just kind of depends. I mean, like, I've thought about this in terms of like my husband and I, because, you know, we were, I was madly in love with him all through middle school, just had the biggest crush on him. And he was my boyfriend for like 2 weeks when we were 11. I mean, whatever that means. And I used to take baths with my dolls in middle school. Yes, I was kind of a late bloomer, I guess, kind of immature longer than maybe some of my peers were. And I would tell my dolls, I'm going to marry him someday. I'm going to marry him. And here we are married. So a part of me thinks, was that fate? I mean, yes, we were apart from each other for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, he and I went to different high schools, and I mean, I never thought I would see him again. But it's just strange how that worked out. You know what I mean? I just think it's weird. So to me, sometimes I think that that was fate, but then maybe it was just random chance, or, you know, because we connected on Facebook. And I think, well, you know, we had mutual friends. We had gone to school together. Facebook kind of cues you into things like that, you know. So maybe that's all it was, and that's it. But it just seems a little fate-ish, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think there are some things that fate can apply to, and then other things I don't think has anything to do with it. So that's kind of a convoluted answer, but that's the best I can come up with. And the shade is beautiful. It really is, but it's just kind of a, I don't know, the consistency of it's a little strange, and it's pretty like hard pressed, and I don't know, but it is really beautiful. And I really like these colors together. I'm just going back with this brush, nothing additional on it, just kind of taking the edge of that shimmer down a little bit right now. Okay, so now I'm going to put Calaca towards the front part of the lid. And I hope this works, because this is kind of a strange Strange shade. Number 8, do you believe you have a soulmate, and do you think it's possible to have more than one? I do believe I have a soulmate, and I do believe I have more than one. I think Paul's my soulmate. I think my kids are my soulmates. There have been friends that I've had in my life that I feel like, well, yeah, soulmates are just like, we have this soul connection with each other, you know? Absolutely. Let's see what this does here. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of chalky looking. It looks like when I swatch it, it looks more shimmery. And then when I put it on my eyelids, it just gets kind of this chalkiness to it. But I do like that. I think that looks cool towards the front of the lid. Kind of brightens it up. But I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. It's just kind of an odd shade. And maybe it's meant to be an odd shade. I don't know. No, I do like that. It is pretty. It's just kind of a funky formulation, maybe. Yeah, it's okay. So yes, I do believe in soulmates, and I do think you can have more than one. You know, I've thought that other guys that I've been with in my past were my soulmates, because, you know, when you fall in love, you think, oh, it's my soulmate. But the relationship that I have with my husband is so different than any relationship I've ever had with a man before in my life, like a romantic relationship. It's so different. I mean, we're so in sync with each other and so comfortable with each other, and just very, he's my best friend. And that's a huge part of being in I think, a successful relationship. I mean, I do believe that. So, and I also think that my kids are my soulmates. I mean, and my grandson, you know, maybe it's just like this over consuming or overpowering love, and I'm saying means it's a soulmate. I don't know, but I do feel like I have several. I'm gonna go back into the shade here with my finger and answer the next question, which is, what is something you'd try if you were guaranteed not to fail? Something I try. Well, skydiving. I would love to try I would, but I'm so freaking afraid of heights that I think I would just plots out while we were jumping out of the plane. I would, and my husband really wants to go skydiving. He's like, go skydiving with me. I'm like, no way. But if I could get through it and not lose it, I might, but I can't imagine. I would also love to open my own used book business, but it would be more than just used books. Like, I want to do like used books and like candles or soaps or something, and like have it be like a coffee shop and a pastry shop all in one. You know, like you could come in, pick out a used book or whatever, several, and if you want to, there's these like really comfy couches with little like end tables with really nice lit lamps, you know, and you can get like a coffee and a pastry, maybe even sell like vintage records. You can even put a record on and listen to it if you want while you're reading. Although if you want to listen to like some crazy rock group, I don't know that that's going to be conducive to like calm reading. I don't know. And then like maybe light a candle, or I don't know. That just sounds like so much fun. And I would love that. You know, that just sounds like something that I would just love to do. And it would be just a fun thing and not super stressful and just easy job, you know, easy. But I know that like I'm gonna go back around with this brush, used bookstores anymore don't really do that great, because, you know, most people now have Kindles and, you know, online reading type stuff. And, you know, it scares me to own my own business just because I'm gonna go back into Valorio. I don't have a lot of business sense, I wouldn't say. I've never owned my own business. And it terrifies me to own my own business because there's so much that goes into it. Taxes, the taxes alone, barf. But if I could be guaranteed that the business would succeed and I would, you know, make enough money to live on, I mean, I don't need to be rolling in the dough, but just live comfortably, then, oh, damn, I would totally do that. Oh, damn. I meant to say, oh, yeah. I don't know where oh, damn came from. The last question here, I'm just going to kind of fix some things up here. The last question is, what are 2 things at the top of your bucket list? And I would say going to the UK to meet Steph and her family. Absolutely. I'm going to go around with this brush and just blend. Nothing additional on it. Let me hold it down here. Okay. That's definitely at the top of my bucket list. Just, you know, traveling is really what I want to do. And then retiring is also at the top of my bucket list. I'm ready to retire, man. And I got a long road to hoe ahead of me, I think. You know, I'd like to be able to retire by the time I'm like 65. I don't know. I might be able to. I might not be able to. I'm gonna go back into Lagrimas. This is getting kind of murky looking because I'm over blending, but there's just this spot right here that's bugging the crap out of me. I can't get it to blend anymore, and it's probably not gonna get any better, but it just looks weird. So yeah, going to the UK and retiring. I would love that. Both of those things. So this is the look. I like it. I think it's pretty. It's a very unique color combination. Again, that shade looks like I put kind of a yellow tone chalk on the front of my lid. But I will go off camera, clean this up, do my other eye, the rest of my face, and I'll come back. So this, of course, is my finished look, and I love how the look turned out. I got over my dislike of the Kaleka shade. I still do think it performs a little strangely, but I do really like how the look turned out. And of course, I'll show you the palette again and talk to you more in depth about the shades that I used. But let me show you just a few things I threw on my face for my finished look. On my lips, I used a liquid lipstick from Menagerie Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Anthurium, I think is how you pronounce it. I just thought this tone would work really well with the Velorio shade that's on my lids today. And I love these liquid lipsticks. They're very affordable. They last all day long. They feel really nice on the lips. It does look a little drying, I would say, so I could have put a gloss over the top, but I just went with this today because I think it looks really nice. And this color I think is gorgeous. And then for my upper lid liner, I used the Revolution Beauty Renaissance Flick Felt Tip Liner in black. I had been seeing tons of people use this particular felt tip liner over the years here on YouTube. I kept thinking, I gotta get it, and I finally got it, and I love it. It's one of the best felt tip liners I've ever used. And then I did use the SheGlam Max Impact Mascara today, which I'm loving this. This was super cheap, like $3 or $4 off the SheGlam website. And I think it coats my lashes well, makes them look maybe a little longer, definitely a little thicker. And I love it. And then for my blush, I used the Moira Ombre Blush in Soft Berry. And this is one of the most, if not the most, pigmented blushes I've ever used in my life. I just thought this color would look well, or look good, match well with my makeup look today and my eye look. And I just kind of stayed in the top part of the blush. Didn't really dive too much into the bottom part because it's so pigmented. The first time I used it, I was like, what? So now let's talk about the Melt Muerte palette. I wasn't too sure about the 5 shades that I selected for this look. I was a little nervous to sit down and create a look with it, but I think they all work together really well. What I will say about this palette that I think I prefer is the mattes over the shimmers. The mattes are so blendable, so pigmented, really lovely. This shade to me is darker on my lids than what I thought it was going to be, and I really enjoyed it. I'm trying to think if I've ever used that shade before. I don't know that I have. The shimmers, though, were a little weird. This one's getting pretty hard pan. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It looks like there's like little divots in it, and maybe I went too hard into the pan. I don't know. It applied okay, and I think it looks beautiful. It's just a little bit of a like sticky formula almost, which that's okay. I mean, it's not a bad formula. It's just different. And then this shade here, it just seems kind of chalky, but I'm noticing that as it kind of like warms up on my skin, it's not looking as chalky. It looks more shimmery. And I did put this in my inner corners as well. And I think it's gorgeous. I really do. I just think maybe I put too much on it to the beginning. I don't know, but it just looked kind of chalky. But now I think it looks fine. And I just think this is such a gorgeous color story. It's so fun and unique and different. Sure, I probably could have duped it, but I didn't want to. I wanted to try this palette because I just think it's so gorgeous. The packaging, the color story, the formulation, more so of the mattes, I would say. I did use a combination of Lagrimas and Pantheon on my lower lash lines, and I think they worked really well together. I cannot wait to see Tracy's look. Well, I've seen Tracy's look. I've seen a picture of Tracy's look, but I have no idea what shade she used to put the look together with, because obviously we chose 5, whatever shades we generated on our own. And I think with our Freddy Krueger collab. Didn't we have similar shades? I'm pretty sure we did, like almost the same exact shade, just a couple differences. So who knows, maybe that happened again. And of course, I can't wait to listen to her answers to the random questions I came up with. And I just adore her. I know I've said that before, but I do. I adore Tracy. She's very special to me. She's a great friend. And I hope that you guys will, if you haven't yet already, will go to her channel, subscribe, show her a ton of love and support, because she really is awesome. And I know that we will be collabing together again. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your lives to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and of course, comment down below in the comment section. I love to chat with you guys there. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I cannot wait to see you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Drop it.